So today I was reading the news and I was reading about this infamous pickup artist that's coming to Canada, or has come to Canada, and who's misogynistic in his views and who has been basically vilified in the news and by a number of people. And the point is, I'm not trying to defend this guy, but I think what we do as a society is when we put people as the focus of our petitions to stop them from coming, when we say to the mayor of Montreal and the mayor of Toronto, don't bring them, don't allow him into your city. We say to Canada, don't allow him into Canada. What we end up doing is we end up giving these people their 15 minutes of fame on the news and way too much power. This guy, because of the actions of the women in Canada and certain groups in Canada, has now gotten more mileage out of the publicity that he's receiving about being here than he could ever have possibly imagined. If he'd been allowed to just come into Canada and give his speech, maybe 10, maybe 100 people would have shown up, or maybe 1,000 people would have shown up at his speech. Probably not 1,000. But having said that, that would have been the extent of it. He would have quietly slipped away, okay? But no, we as a society, we have to make a big deal out of this. We have to make him the most important thing, the news article. He's in the top stories of CTV News today, okay? So he's getting way more publicity because of the protesting that's taking place than if nobody had protested and allowed him simply to come to Canada, give his speech, and slink back to where he came from. Now, I'm not defending him. I'm not saying that he's right or anything like that. I think the misogynist man like that deserves to not have an audience. Having said that, when are we going to stop trying to take responsibility for everybody in our society by protecting them from people like this? These guys just don't have enough to be able to provide people with something, so they use shock factor to try to get themselves on the news. And he succeeded. I think that as a society, we would be better off to educate our children from the time they go into kindergarten all the way up about what it is to be equal to each other, what it is to appreciate each other, what it is to love each other, what it is to nurture each other. Get away from all this need for competition that we have in our society, which that doesn't say that competition is wrong, but I'm saying we have a need for it. And start teaching our society through education, through the children into the adults. Educate people that this kind of information or this kind of behavior is not acceptable. If the protest groups had simply used their ability to raise funds to create an education program, an advertising program that would have not centered this fella or anyone else, but simply started to have a general education program where we are saying, hey, women are important in our society. Women are a valuable member of our society. Women have to be treated with love, respect, and kindness. Well, then what we would have done, we would have had a more effective way of communicating with everybody. And then people like him who come into our country to spout their views of hate or spout their views of difference, okay? They would literally be ostracized by the lack of people showing up rather than trying to stop them from spreading their message. Hate is insidious in our society. People are going to hate. Racism is insidious. People are going to feel racist. Misogyny is insidious. People are going to feel that women are not equal. It's part of our society right now. How do you change it? The greater problem is changing it from a core level through education, through interaction, through showing our children and ourselves that this is not the case, instead of trying to protest the ability of someone to espouse their views to our society. Let's face it, we live in a society where everybody is allowed to say what they want to say. You know, it's just the way we live. In fact, we cherish that in North America, that we can live in a society where if you want to say something, you can. You're free to say it. There are consequences to what you say, but I think we have to start realizing that when we vilify certain individuals because of what they say, we make them the center of attention. We give them power. We give them advertising. We put them into the news. And when we do that, they have more power, more exposure than if they ever had been allowed to just slink into the country and slink out. Anyhow, those are my views. So if you have any comments, by all means, don't forget, put your comments down. We'll see what kind of a discussion we can generate. That's it. That's all I got.